Hello MMA fans, welcome to the channel. I am Pasadena MMA and today we'll be going over my picks for who will be the new contenders in the UFC. This can range from people who are ranked already moving into the top 7, top 5 or unranked prospects moving up. My first pick for Flyweight is Asu Almabayev. This guy, real well-rounded, as you can see in the picture. He knows what he's doing. He got out of a nasty gilly from Nicolau. I don't know if you watched that fight. That was one of the deepest submissions I've seen someone get out of. This guy's got solid striking, like enough to move him, beat guys because of the wrestling he has as well. This guy's just well-rounded enough to beat a lot of one-dimensional fighters and people who just can't kind of handle the heavy wrestling. Maybe they can give this guy someone like Amir Albazi or someone who I think, off the top of my head, is ranked number 3. And this guy's like one win away from being in the top 5 if they keep moving him up. I think if he fights 2 to 3 times next year, I do think he'll lose. I don't think he beats the Pantojas or the Royvals of the division, but I still think he'll be in the top 5 by the end of the year. The honorable mention for the division is, the answer probably you expected, is Joshua Van. This guy, phenomenal boxer, 100% will rise up the division in the next year and few years. I don't know if this guy is a future champ. If he seriously keeps improving the way he is, I think he absolutely could be. And this guy is just so fun to watch, man. He's so fun to watch. Every fight is just a banger, and I can definitely see this guy being in the top 7 next year. Bantamweight, I got a totally unexpected answer here, Peyton Talbot. I know this is an iffy pick considering he's still unranked and has had, 3 fights in the UFC? Maybe 2? I don't remember because not including Contender series, but I remember the Simon fight and whatever this guy's name was, I do not remember. But this guy, he'll be ranked by the end of the year. He's going to beat Barcelos, and maybe they give him a Jose Aldo. That would be a very fun fight. I think he definitely beats the lower guys in the top 15, and I'm excited to see what this guy's ceiling is like. I can see him beating a top 10 by the end of the year if he, doesn't take 8 months off in between fights. He's definitely a contender to watch out for, though, as most of you probably know, one of the most exciting prospects coming into the UFC. All right, so Peyton Talbot, I think he's going to be probably ranked 11 by the end of the year, which technically is not what I said with top contenders, but I don't care. I think he's going to be just under the top 10. And my honorable mention is Ariel Helwani. I think this guy, he's good. He's on a run. He's obviously not a shit fighter. He's doing his thing. I think he can beat a few of the guys above him in the rankings, like Mario Bautista. I think he chins him. There's a good run, and I think he's just going to decision maybe two or maybe even 3 more guys above him and get into the top 12. And probably lose after that. But I got Ariel Helwani as the honorable mention for Bantamweight. Featherweight is Gene Silva. Again, a pretty obvious answer. The Fighting Nerds. They're really fun to watch, man. All of them. This rise is really, really cool. And I think Gene Silva is going to make his way into the top 10 of the division next year. Assuming he stays at featherweight. If he stays at lightweight, that's completely different. But I think he's just going to keep knocking guys out. He's just got that style. He's good. He's a great boxer. And he's putting guys out like Drew Dober and Charles Jourdain. Like, you don't just do that. Normal people don't do that. This guy's got a lot of power, and I'm excited to see what he can do. I don't know, maybe you give him a Dan Ige or an Edson Barboza. Those, maybe not Barboza, I think he knocks him out. But Dan Ige would be a good fight, because Dan Ige is definitely the kind of guy who would fraud check someone. If they're not that top level, Dan Ige will definitely chin you. But I think Gene Silva definitely beats Dan and makes his way probably into the top 7 by the end of the year. If he's at lightweight, that changes things. I think he probably knocks out a few unranked guys at lightweight, because a lightweight is pretty stacked still. If they give him a top 15, like a lower top 15 lightweight, I can see him beating them, but I'm not too sure. Honorable mention is Yusuf Zalal. Obviously on a great run. He just beat Jack Shaw, and he's doing really, really good. He's a great fighter. He's sharp, he's precise, and I think he's going to be ranked by the end of the year. And for lightweight, this is when it gets a little, I wouldn't say controversial, but I'm going to play it risky, and I'm going to go with Paddy Pimblett. This is a goofy goober answer. And it's less based on logic, more based on, I just feel like this is going to happen. I feel like the Paddy title run is going to begin next year. If he fights Michael Chandler, which I'm not sure if that's actually going to happen, I think he beats him. I think he beats Mike. I think it's probably a 60-40 in Paddy's favor. Because on the feet, if they stay on the feet, Mike's probably going to knock him out. But Paddy can... Charles Oliveira showed that you can wrestle Michael Chandler. You can offensively wrestle him, because no one did it. And now Paddy can. He's a great offensive wrestler, and if Paddy does it, I think he wins. I could see him maybe I don't think he'd submit Michael Chandler, because if Charlie Olives can't do it, I don't think Paddy's going to do it. But I think he's going to beat Chandler if they fight, and even if they don't, I think he probably beats a Moicano. That's a tough fight. I'd probably pick Paddy, but it's very close. And I think he beats some of the other guys. And just the way they give him fights, I feel like they're not going to give him, they're not going to throw him into a Dustin Poirier or something like that. They're going to give him someone who is beatable. So I think Paddy's going to be top 8, top 7 by the end of the year. If he beats Michael Chandler, that's going to happen, because Chandler is ranked number 7. But yeah, and he's not a terrible fighter either. He is actually improving. I know we all thought he was an absolute goofball when he pretty much lost to Jared Gooden. But, after the Tony win, even though Tony is the most washed up fighter in the whole UFC, which, makes me want to cry. But, he beat him, and he destroyed Bobby Green, all these old heads. But he's clearly improving. I don't think the Paddy Pimblett who beat Jared would do what he did to Bobby Green. And I can just see him half fluking, half skilling his way to a submission win over, like a Beneil Dariush if he doesn't retire after the Moicano fight, or even like a Dan Hooker, which I would fucking hate to see. But I think Paddy would probably beat Hooker. But it's actually no, I think Hooker probably beats Paddy, but I can see him just getting his way to a submission. And my honorable mentions, I got 2 here, because one of them I don't think is going to be top 10 even by the end of the year. I think he's going to reach his peak maybe in 2-3 years. But the other guy, I got Chase Hooper and Joao Alvarez. I think Chase Hooper is just going to win next year, maybe even get to the top 15. I just wanted to include him because of how much we love the guy, and I don't think there's any fight where we'd root against him. It's just this guy's the future. He's going to do his thing. I think he's going to be top 15 by the end of the year, maybe, depending on how active he is. But Joao Alvarez, I think he's going to rise in the rankings. All his wins, all finishes. His only recent loss is to Arman Tsarukyan, which is crazy because he's fighting for the belt now, one of the best fighters in the division. And I think he beats Jalen Turner. I think he beats just most of the guys in his way to the top 7. And I think we're going to see him do it. So I can see him being, top 8, top 9 by the end of the year. Now for welterweight, Michael Morales. Come on. This guy is really good. He is well-rounded. He can wrestle. He can box. And I think he's just got that style where he can kind of pick apart most guys below the top 10 and just kind of cruise his way to a win or knock the guy out. Yeah, he has the skill set to beat a lot of these one-dimensional guys. I think he'd beat Carlos Prates, Stephen Thompson at this point in his career, and probably Jeff Neal. I think it's a competitive fight, but I think he definitely beats him. Very competitive though. I do think he loses to the top guys like an Ian Gary, a Buckley. I think he'd probably beat guys like Usman. Sorry, beat guys no fucking Usman. Beat guys like Burns and Covington right now. He's just that new generation welterweight, and I think we're going to see him get into the top 10 by the end of the year. And my original honourable mention was Brian Battle, but even though I think he will be top 10 eventually, I just don't think he will be next year. I think he's still got improvements to make, and even though he is steadily improving, I don't think he's going to beat those top 10 guys next year. And this is an iffy take, but I do have Carlos Prates. I think he could just knock someone out I think he might beat Burns. Probably he's a bit chinny, and he does beat some of the guys there. I don't think he beats anyone like top 7 up. I don't think he beats Ian Gary. I don't think he beats JDM. I don't think he beats those guys. I think he'd lose to Michael Morales. But I can see him having a decent year. Maybe he continues the run, goes 6-0, or maybe he loses, but I think he's still going to be ranked in top 10 by the end of the year. Middleweight, we've got an obvious answer here. It's Anthony Hernandez. Great wrestling, good boxing, constantly improving, and middleweight is shallow as fuck at the moment. I think Anthony Hernandez is definitely going to have a great year. I actually think this guy's going to be ranked in the top 3 even by the end of the year. I think he beats most guys. I think the only guys who kind of, push him back are maybe a Robert Whittaker. If Robert Whittaker isn't the same after the Chimaev fight, I think he loses. Izzy's a tough fight. I don't even want to think about that. Caio Barolo, I don't know how to pronounce that, but that's a tough fight. That's very competitive. But yeah, I think he beats, I think he runs through Marvin Vettori, Jared Cannonier, those guys. I think he beats Imavov. I think Chimaev beats him, and I honestly think he'd give Strickland a very tough fight. So I think Anthony Hernandez is going to be ranked top 3 by the end of the year. And my honourable mention, I will die on this hill. Michel Pereira is going to be top 7 by the end of the year. This guy's really good. I know he lost to Hernandez pretty badly, but that's just because Hernandez is really good. Pereira was on a 7-8 fight win streak. He's lost 3 fights in the middleweight division, lasting barely over a minute. And I think he is going to run through some more guys, even if they're higher in the rankings. I think he beats Brendan Allen. I think he beats Jack Hermanson, Vettori, Cannonier. I think he beats these guys. Yeah, I think he's really going to pick himself up. He's going to go on another run and finish maybe 2 to 3 guys in 2025 and be top 10. I think he goes undefeated in 2025. I don't think they're going to feed him to the wolves. I don't think they're going to give him like a Whittaker or anything. I think because he had to win 8 fights to get, even though obviously most of them are welterweight, he still had to go on an 8-fight run. And he's still fighting Anthony Hernandez on that streak, who was 13 when they fought. That's just a guess, but still, I feel like they're still going to kind of slow roll him. But I think he's going to prove that he's still a menace in the division. Light heavyweight, I only have one. It's Min Yang Zhang. This division is just so shallow. Maybe like in, what's his name, Murzakanov. He could maybe, but I think Zhang's going to make his way into the top 10, knock out a couple more guys, get a couple wins, because he's a dangerous guy, very dangerous guy. And I think this division, whether or not Zhang is, elite or not, I think he's going to make his way into the top 10. I'd love to see him against like an Uzdemir. That would be an amazing fight to really test where Zhang is at. Maybe after 1 or 2 more wins with the lower top 15. But I think this guy is going to make his way into the top of the division, become a proper contender, and start fighting some of the higher ranked guys, which I'd love to see because he's a fun fighter. There's one of those guys that, one shot and the fight's over. And it's just like that every time. He's so powerful, and I'm excited to see what he does next. And heavyweight, I have gone with Mick Parkin. Same thing. The division is really, really shallow. There's just not that many guys. I considered maybe choosing Rosenstrike, but I think most of the guys above him probably beat him. Like a Volkov, Gunn. I think those guys beat him. And he's fighting, I think, Pavlovich. It's a close fight. I'm probably going to pick Pavlovich, but Rosenstrike I think it's a pretty competitive fight, actually. But I'm going to go with Mick Parkin just because he's showing to be a bit slicker than most of the other blobs. He can actually, box, and he's got fundamentals, which a lot of these guys just don't have. So I'm going to go with Mick Parkin. I think he should beat Taibura. I think he beats him, and that's already in the top 10 now, and he might beat another guy. And I'm going to get to this honorable mention. This is the guy who's going to make the heavyweight division great again. He's moving up from light heavyweight. Ryan motherfucking Spann. This guy might just get cracked in his first fight. I forget who he's fighting. Hold on, let me find out. But Ryan Spann, he's going to be faster in the heavyweight division than most of the other heavyweights. He's got that skill from light heavyweight. Yeah, I think he's just got that extra skill from being in a lower weight class. He's going to bring that up. And even though as you can see, I got a little bit of proof that he did lose to Anthony Smith, which is never good. He's fighting Cortez Acosta. Fuck's sake. Watch him lose now to that absolute blob. I do not like that guy at all. Waldo Acosta. The day he gets knocked out is going to be the same reaction to when Aspinall knocks out Jones. I'm going to have the exact same reaction. And Ryan Spann, he might do it. He's real long. He's faster than most of the heavyweights. He's going to be extremely powerful. I think he's going to carry that power. Well, he's going to have more power going from light heavyweight and that skill. And I think he can beat a lot of these blobs. He might take out a few of them because he's a big guy. He's athletic. And this is more, as long as he doesn't just get clipped or held on the ground by Acosta. If he gets past Acosta, I honestly think this guy could maybe get into the top 11 just by knocking out these guys, because the top 15 heavyweight obviously is not very good. So that's my favorite pick of the day, Ryan Spann. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Yeah, that's my picks for the top contenders of 2025. Let's see. We'll come back to this video at the end of the year. Happy New Year, everybody. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.